This weekend sees the Manchester derby and the return to the top flight of Scottish football of the old firm. So it sparked the question, what is football's biggest rivalry? Now, this can be anything from, you know, the biggest derby games, or it could be manager on manager, it could be player on player. You know, if you want to shout for...
Maybe you could have told us that with the agenda.
Why?
Pre-preparation.
You're trying to say that his research isn't good.
I'm going to say right now... No, but I'm concerned that... Look, adapt.
I'll just give you my answer from me, what I planned.
Exactly. What's the biggest player-on-player rivalry do you think there's been?
Fernando Torres, Lionel Messi.
Sure, go for it. If you disagree with that, by all means, let us know.
I'm going to say the biggest rivalry is South Korea versus North Korea.
In football?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why's that?
I just know they don't get along, and it's a bit tough.
Where does that stem from?
I think about 1956, something like that.
What happened in 1956?
I think there was a war or something that separated the two countries.
Geographically speaking,
one's in the north, one's in the south.
Where is North South Korea from here?
It's about, well, it's east.
If you just keep going that way, at some point you're going to hit it.
It's just
all that way.
It's just after China, below Russia.
Cool.
Before you get to Japan. There you go.
Excellent. Well, there you go.
You could just Google Maps if you want. And don't follow Peds directly.
Well, I was a little concerned that this wasn't going to stand up on its own as a segment, but lo and behold, Peds nailed it again. Sam, what do you reckon biggest football rivalry?
You were talking about it off camera, but we can talk about United, Liverpool. They don't even fucking get anywhere near the intensity of basically every single derby in Eastern Europe. I can't name them all, but every single one of them is like a war. And like, some of them actually are in war, so I'm going to say that a little bit. So I won't go too far on that one, but say...
I don't think any of them are.
Nah, yeah, you are.
I think what you've just done there is took the plot of most of the James Bond films from the early 90s and just...
That's because we were talking about films off camera as well, so you're filling my mind, you're polluting me. But yeah, we can't... United against Liverpool, it is what it is. You know, I fucking hate you, you fucking hate me when it comes to football.
But you're not, though. That's the point. You're sitting next to each other. That's... These ones you're talking about, they wouldn't.
That's your chair, in fairness, Ped.
Pardon?
That is your chair.
No, but they don't. Some of the rivalries, they wouldn't sit next to each other. They wouldn't have a conversation with each other.
But there will be, but there are examples within each fan base where that's the case.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm sure there's some derbies. Don't cut this. I'm being serious when I say this. In like Israel, Palestine, that play each other, and they would be... You can imagine the tension between those games, and they happen.
Yeah.
You know, so you can imagine things like that, and, you know, there's games from certain parts, like you were saying, old Yugoslavia that play each other, and there's obviously not just boundaries for the countries, but there's boundaries of religion as well.
I guess you've got the Ukrainian-Russian thing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't even allowed to play each other last year or the year before in the Europa League because of those divides. So
still not.
There are some very, very serious games of football out there, and we do love Everton, Liverpool, Man United, Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal. I don't even think Celtic Rangers is that bad compared to us. It is bad, but it's not as bad as some of these other ones.
Yeah.
I think you've got Boca Juniors, River Plate is supposed to be, I think they call it Super Classico or something like that. When you've got like what you're talking about there, the rivalry's more than football, isn't it? It goes into religion. It's like higher class versus lower class, groups of people and all that type of stuff. And then you add league titles into it. I think, who is it? River Plate have won, I think, 36 league titles. Boca Juniors are the second most successful club with 30 league titles.
Is this the answer that you researched, by the way?
Of course it is. Gotta do your research. Like the other one was from that poster up there, Paul. Lionel Messi, Fernando Torres. Literally just looked up, saw two players, named them. But there you go. Look, and then for me, probably Celtic Rangers is probably the next biggest after all them, because I take your points about all the Eastern European and stuff, but the religious connotations and not just the religious stuff as well when you talk about Rangers Celtic. The fact that there's been a break for a few years and then they had one last season, the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. This is a massive rivalry and one that, people around the world tune in for when they don't give a damn about Scottish football. That's what a good rivalry does. Yeah. It makes people who don't care about that league go and watch it.
I think it goes beyond it, because I think you're right. I think you've got the lunacy ones where you talk about the South Americans, where you've got people climbing fences to punch each other in the face and throw flares and all that kind of stuff. Like, you look at the Istanbul derbies and all like that, aren't they? They're all crazy. But I actually think in sporting terms, I think the Man United, Liverpool ones up there, just because of how it's totally based upon almost like jealousy of the success of the team that's on top at any given point. So it was Man United looking at Liverpool through the 70s and 80s, and then it's been the 90s and noughties going the other way, and then I guess we'll see how the next couple of
but I mean,
pans out,
there's also the natural rivalry of the cities as well, and steal and trade off each other and that kind of thing, and one thing and another, and ship canals and all this, Mark.
Well, you look at their badges; they've both got boats on them because it symbolises that Manchester shipping canal. You know, that's where the rivalry essentially started between the cities. But it was the flames were fuelled by the success of each of the individual clubs.
Well, rivalry is like, you look back in the 50s, probably earlier than 50s, but people from Manchester used to go and watch City and United games just because they wanted to watch a game of football. It wasn't until we won the European Cup and we started to really emerge after the Munich air disaster in '58. That's when...
And the rail network got better down to London, and you know, all the airports started to be EasyJet. That's helped.
EasyJet.
Fucking hell, talk about fucking pot and kettle here. Fucking hell.
I was at Pot and Kettle. I live 3 miles away from the stadium. Always have done, Ped.
That's just you though, isn't it?
Yes, that's just him.
That's just
This
you.
is the only one. Well done.
Just you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He lives closer to our stadium than you do to yours.
No, he doesn't.
He does?
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
You live in Egbert?
I don't live in Egbert. That's the secret. I don't live in Egbert. I live within a mile of Goodison Park.
Do you? Oh, because you live on County Road.
The
Because you've got to be an
side,
episode.
the other side. I don't live. I couldn't afford to live in Egbert on a Ball Street salary, which is fucking zero, by the way.
Yeah. Well, the thing for the Liverpool Man United one, you look at it in terms of rivalry, when Fergie come out and did the whole knocking Liverpool off the fucking perch stuff.
And he did.
Well, exactly. But the point is, he set Man United's entire agenda around the rivalry with Liverpool. That was their Man United's goal.
Everton tried to do that with us.
Everton do it every single week, don't they? Like, I mean, that's how Everton have marketed themselves for 20 years. No, but we've been about this conversation all the time. In fact, he's texting someone about it now. That's
his mum is teasing.
Everything Everton have done, like in their marketing department, has been set up as a poke at Liverpool, and the rivalry with Liverpool. You know, the People's Club, we go the game, or like born not chosen, or chosen not manufactured, whatever the latest one.
That's because
Things you will never understand.
Tell me, Ma, we went to Cardiff twice or Wembley twice for a semi-final and a final. Just saying.
Tired, sorry.
That was a separate one. But
yeah, but that's because they're the games that matter for the fans. They're the ones that you get your fixtures and you look at the calendar. They're the ones you go into work and you talk. You don't go in if you lose to Stoke at the weekend unless you work at Stoke, and then you get it in the neck. They're the ones that really you remember year on year, and they build their own history within football.
Yeah.
They've all, this is what it is.
Everyone versus Leeds, as an example.
Not often we agree.
To be fair, there's
Newcastle, Tories, West Ham.
horses versus Newcastle. There's other reason though, isn't it? I mean, I remember when, what year was it? Was it 2002 in the US? I don't think it was. USA played Iran in the World Cup, and Iran beat USA 3-0, and you never see more delight on the Iran fit because they'd beaten their oppressors. So there's plenty of that as well that goes around, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just people hating people. Well, it's countries hating countries in some points as well. So
we've not mentioned El Clasico. You look at this when Mourinho was in charge, Mourinho and Pep, and how that used to boil over. Not just, it wasn't in the stands, was it? It was eye gouge-tastic, that wasn't it? Fans and players and benches and coaches all kicking off like.
Well, from a purely sporting perspective, you've got Barcelona and Madrid. They're not exactly next door to each other. They are there because they are technically football's biggest rivalry, the two powerhouses of football. But there's two different questions. It's what's football's biggest and most intense. Because
the thing about that is, though, I know it's always been a big game, but I just wonder whether it's turned into this world event, hasn't it, in the last few years? And you just wonder, in the old days, was it? I mean, it wasn't a world event because no one really paid any attention, but I know.
How many El Clasicos did you watch prior to
Well, look,
2000?
it was always the Catalans versus the rulers
But that's
of
what I
Spain.
was going to say,
because
because it's billed as one thing, which is the two of the biggest teams in the world, but it actually has some really, really important political ideals behind both sides. You know, you've got Real Madrid being like the darlings of the country, and foreigners not being able to allowed to sign for Barcelona. Then suddenly they could sign players and all these different things, and Catalonia wanting being its own thing. But it's at the moment a lot of people just see it as two of the biggest players in the world, Ronaldo versus Messi, and that's what it's turned into. But there are real
Roots
real
to it,
serious roots behind that, which has sort of been forgotten in all the hype of TV and those kind of things.
And you've even got the ones that share a stadium. You know, Inter Milan, AC Milan, that's a huge rivalry as well. Like.
Yeah, got to imagine.
Red Star
Lazio Roma, I
Belgrade
bet you that's nasty.
versus
Lazio Roma. Partizan?
versus it's
Partizan.
just gone off my screen. FK Partizan, which again is that Yugoslavia kind of situation, country split, and I think we it's all hype in this country about ours. They're not as bad as we.
Yeah, the biggest one, I think one of the biggest ones for that is probably like Liverpool-Chelsea. Is the most. I don't think it's a manufactured rivalry, but it's like there's a real depth of ill feeling on both sides, and it just literally stems from a 5-year period in the last.
And it stems from the two managers as well.
2009 or whatever, like
You know,
There's
Benitez,
them weirdos,
Mourinho.
like Brighton versus Crystal Palace is supposed to be a big rivalry, and you're like, what the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Wimbledon and anyone they ground shared with at any point, like.
Or anyone who stole their identity.
In fact, actually
run
saying
away.
that, AFC Wimbledon versus MK Dons is an interesting one, isn't it? That was hilarious when was it the FA Cup they played in a couple of years ago, and they were doing like the where were you when you were us kind of stuff.
Well,
Like
they're in
that.
the same league now, aren't they? So
Yeah.
that'll be interesting to see this season
Yeah.
how that goes. I just want to see Carl Robinson just fighting people. He just seemed like a fighter, doesn't he? He's got
Full on scowl.
I get a lot in the comments. Am I related to Carl Robinson? Which is an interesting one. I'm not.
Is he a bad ginger as well?
He's good football. I played against Carl when he was in Liverpool's academy. Very good player.
See how we didn't answer the question?
Yeah.
Is he a what? Sorry.
Doesn't matter.
I'm not ginger. I don't know where this rumour's come from.
Blonde.
Don't know where this rumour's come from. No idea.
No idea. Anyone knows where the whole Peds ginger conspiracy comes
no
from? Let us
idea.
know in the comments below. And of course, if you've got any suggestions for football's biggest rivalry, or whatever you feel that would mean, because it can mean anything you want, as long as you justify it
I feel
in
like
the
we should have done
comments.
more research on this. To be honest.
Well, Chris did research. You had how many titles? River Plate had won. What did you have? You had your phone out. You couldn't even get Partizan.
To be fair,
I had that as well, in fairness.
To be fair, I did quite well on the North Korea, South Korea one. So
Yeah, you did.
I knew where they were.
I thought you won it in the first minute, to be honest, mate. It was game over.
Probably should have ended the video after 1 minute, to be fair.
Yeah. You just come out there, blitzkrieg does in the first 15 minutes, and it was all over. So let us know in the comments below if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the Ball Street YouTube channel. Some amazing things happening. If you can't click the subscribe button in the corner, which is I think it's down here somewhere, go to youtube.com/ No, it's not up there anymore. Remember, we got told to take it off?
Yeah, it's back up there though. They sent an email round today.
Oh, amazing. There you go. or there. Whatever. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Ta-ra.